everyone. The guests are on the way. The former US President Barack Obama once said, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the change that we seek."
The pandemic sent the industry conventions into a tizzy, bringing the hybrid work culture in its aftermath. Today, we find ourselves at a crossroads in the arena of human resources. Technology is reshaping the way we work, hire, develop, and engage with the most valuable resource, people. This evolution spans strategies to cultivate internal talent markets, embrace emerging technology, and strengthen management skills. Due to technology's transformative capacity, HR professionals are no longer just the gatekeepers of talent, but are also the architects of change.
Today, we stand on the precipice of innovation, collaboration, and transformation, and it is with immense pleasure that we invite you to the grand unveiling of the most anticipated event of the year, Vachna 2023, the HR Conclave of the Vinod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready to embark on a journey like no other, where we shall navigate through the dynamics of tech metamorphosis. The VGSoM's premier event is making a comeback, uniting distinguished corporate experts who will navigate us through the intricacies of human resource management in the contemporary digital era.
I am Anjali Sahu.
And I am Atul Anil Kumar.
We are delighted to be your host for the event. The abundant sunlight filters through the lush greenery, enveloping the vast campus in a friendly and comforting atmosphere. Nestled within this lush green campus of the IIT Kharagpur, the Vinod Gupta School of Management stands as a beacon of academic excellence and architectural charm. VGSoM's eminence is its intellectual minds, weaving the tapestry of innovation and zeal, fostering growth, strength, and imprinting a sense of purpose in every student fortunate enough to walk its hallowed halls.
From being the creme de la creme in multiple rankings to attracting golden opportunities for its students from diverse organizations of repute, VGSoM has been at a vantage point among the top B schools in terms of setting new benchmarks in building corporate partnerships. Showcasing its commitment towards cultivating techno-managerial leaders for a responsible tomorrow, the institute has prided itself in cultivating and fostering corporate relations.
VGSoM is the preferred place of hiring for industry stalwarts such as Accenture Strategy, GSK, ITC Limited, McKinsey & Company, PwC, Titan, Wells Fargo, and many others, with an average pre-MBA work experience of 24 months to seizing various roles like data analyst, management and technology consultant, risk and strategy consultant, product manager, and strategic sourcing in organizations of repute. Our students have proved their mettle time and again. The average CTC stood at 22.13 lakhs per annum, while the highest was 43.37, wrapping up an excellent placement last year.
Before we press play, remember this: what you're about to see is not just a video, but a peek into life, a glimpse of the present that will mold the tomorrow through the uncertainties of future.
Welcome to the Vinod Gupta School of Management, where innovation meets excellence and dreams turn into achievements. VGSoM, the first B school in the IIT ecosystem, was founded by a distinguished alumnus and lifetime fellow of IIT Kharagpur, Mr. Vinod Gupta, in 1993. VGSoM offers programs that groom future industry leaders with a distinct fusion of managerial and technological expertise, poised to excel in the business world. With over 30 years of history, VGSoM boasts a rich legacy, earning numerous accolades and a consistent top ranking among B schools by prestigious bodies. VGSoM's flagship program is a full-time residential offering tailored for graduate engineers and master's degree holders in science, economics, and commerce. It blends lectures, case studies, group projects, and workshops, ranking among India's best. The diverse curriculum includes a wide range of electives spanning core managerial and technological courses, and students gain industry exposure through a 2-month summer internship. VGSoM features a highly experienced faculty hailing from various management fields.
VGSoM goes beyond conventional education. The faculty here not only imparts knowledge but also encourages critical thinking and innovation. Our curriculum is designed to be dynamic, keeping us updated with the ever-changing business landscape. The close-knit community of students fosters collaborative peer learning, creating a vibrant atmosphere of knowledge exchange. VGSoM truly equips us not only with academic excellence but also with the skills and mindset needed for success in the real world.
The campus offers round-the-clock access to central facilities such as a library with an exclusive digital section, a gym, canteen and a guest house, a swimming pool along with other sporting amenities. Over the past 30 years, VGSoM has been dedicated to fostering the all-encompassing growth of future business leaders and has played a substantial role in the field of management education. It truly stands as a pioneer. Leveraging its technical prowess, IIT Kharagpur provides VGSoM with necessary infrastructure, intellectual resources, and a robust alumni network, all driven by a resolute ambition to be the nation's premier institution. The Vinod Gupta School of Management invites you to join us on this journey of continuous service to the nation and reach new heights together.
We hope you rejoiced the video as much as we relished in concocting and presenting it to you.
While the future is unraveling through the clicks of the clock, let this video remind us that the life's most beautiful stories, which once were ephemeral, were all created together.
Before we proceed with the event, we would like to take out a moment to convey our gratitude to all the honorable guests and erudite faculty members to have dedicated their valuable time for gracing this event.
In a world that often seems too fraught with uncertainties, the act of lighting a lamp is a reminder that we can collectively dispel the darkness and find our way towards a brighter future. Together, we can create a space filled with harmony, understanding, and goodwill. So, to commence the event on an auspicious note, we humbly request our acclaimed dignitaries, esteemed VGSoM Advisor Professor P.K. Ray, and respected Dean Professor Kusum Sudhakar Reddy to grace the stage and join us in lighting the lamp.
Thank you, honorable guests. Thank you, advisor sir and dean sir. In the realm of leadership, it is a well accepted principle that true leaders possess a remarkable ability to uplift others, broaden horizons, and extend boundaries, thus unlocking hidden potential. Today, we have a distinct privilege of extending our warmest welcome to an extraordinary leader who epitomizes these ideals. Professor Kusum Sudhakar Reddy, the esteemed Dean of the Vinod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur. Professor Reddy's 27-year journey at IIT Kharagpur demonstrates unwavering commitment to excellence. As a distinguished academic in civil engineering, he has made pivotal contribution to MBA student development in areas like strategic project management, leadership in engineering, and sustainable infrastructure solutions. With over 50 research papers at national and international conferences, he embodies VGSoM's pursuit of excellence. It is our honor to extend a heartfelt welcome to an exceptional leader, someone who has not only elevated performance standards, but has also raised the aspirations of those fortunate enough to be guided by his wisdom and mentorship.
We would like to humbly request the President of VGSoM Student Council, Deepak Singh, to felicitate Professor Kusum Sudhakar Reddy and elevate the event. Thank you, Deepak. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm and wholehearted welcome to Professor Kusum Sudhakar Reddy, a distinguished scholar, a visionary leader, and an inspiration to us all. As he graces the stage to address our ennobled gathering, we eagerly anticipate the profound insights he will share with us. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Professor P.K. Rai, Advisor Vinod Gupta School of Management, distinguished panelist on the dais, my faculty colleagues, student friends, and the organizers. It is my pleasure as Dean VGSoM to extend a warm and cordial welcome to each and every one of you as we gather here today for the prestigious HR Conclave Vachina 2023, a flagship event hosted by the Vinod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur. Our invitation to several industry leaders to gather here and then discuss on a very important topic is a testimony to our commitment to having a strong collaboration with industry and learning on a regular basis from the industry. And we are extremely proud to host this prestigious panel, which includes some of the nation's brightest and most perceptive minds, for a discussion that promises to generate a variety of viewpoints. The issue at hand explores how automation, digital transformation, and other cutting-edge technologies are permeating the society and how they are transforming HR procedures and are bringing about transformative change. This means exciting opportunities and, of course, the associated challenges. I'm sure today's panelists will share with us their take on how to make the best use of the ever-evolving opportunities and how to deal with or convert the challenges into opportunities. Vinod Gupta School of Management, which has been a home to numerous internationally renowned visionaries, influencers, and change agents, takes pride in being one of the nation's top B schools. Our motto, that's the institute's motto, dedicated to the service of the nation, has served as a guiding principle for our students and graduates who have made significant contributions to the fields and society at large. Dear students, I believe that all of you will be future industry leaders, business leaders, and will be great ambassadors for VGSoM and IIT Kharagpur. The time you spend here is crucial to prepare you for the challenges of the corporate world. This event undoubtedly offers a special opportunity for you to learn from these seasoned professionals. I will stop here as you're all very eager to join the discussions that the panelists will be engaging in. I extend my best wishes to for this upcoming proceedings. My heartfelt thanks to the panelists once again for taking your time and then being here. Thank you.
We greatly appreciate your insightful remarks, which have undoubtedly enriched the perspective of our future leaders and established the agenda for today's activities. Your ongoing mentorship and backing are a source of enduring gratitude. Thank you, sir.
Learning is the only thing the mind never exhausts, never fears, and never regrets. With utmost joy, we would like to welcome our guest of honor for the day, Professor Pradeep Kumar Ray, Emeritus Professor, Department of Industrial and Systems Engineering and Advisor, VGSoM, IIT Kharagpur. A maestro in industrial engineering yet a humble person, Professor Ray is a cherished alumnus of IIT Kharagpur, where he fulfilled both his master's degree and doctorate. Professor Ray holds vast experience in healthcare system optimization, service performance modeling, and ergonomics. Currently, he is acting as a chief expert guiding APO-sponsored projects for 6 Asian countries. Professor Ray holds various accolades to his name. He is a recipient of the ORSI PC Mahalnobis Award and is a distinguished fellow of the Institution of Engineers and the World Academy of Productivity Science.
We would like to humbly request our beloved Dean, Professor Kusum Sudhakar Reddy, to felicitate Professor Pradeep Kumar Ray and embellish the occasion. Thank you, Dean Sir. Now we would like to invite Professor Ray to address the gathering and impart his wisdom to the pupils.
Esteemed faculty colleagues, the students of Vinod Gupta School of Management, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to all of you. And as you are aware, there's such an important event is organized by Vinod Gupta School of Management every year. Obviously, there are reasons for this one, and the topic is HR. We, as an engineer, when we started our the career working in industries and the interacting with the workers at the shop floor, ultimately what you need to do, that means we are designer, we are engineer, we talk about the system's quality, many other aspects. But what is most important is that to what extent your system is human-centered. Today, across the world, we talk about sustainable, the production system or the sustainable systems. And many, the business, houses, they are focusing on, say how to create a system which is sustainable. And obviously, when you deal with the humans, now I refer to Toyota production system. Many, many years ago, 1959, 1960, 61, what they have mentioned, along with the other the tools and techniques, that whatever may be your position, whatever may be your strength, whatever may be, the company's focus, each and every person at any position must be treated as a human being. And throughout the world, civilization knows how the human being is defined. So we are, whenever talk about management, essentially it's a human management or the man management. That's the core issue. And today, when you talk about ergonomic design, mechanical systems engineering, or say electrical systems engineering, or whatever may be the core focus areas, ultimately what you need to do, you must apply human factors engineering. And this realization has come, understood almost all the companies. I remember, in fact, whenever we say that who is the person, who is the leader in Indian context, who is considered to be the best as far as human resource management, or say his ability to, say the motivate human resources concerned. Obviously, I refer to Rishi Modi. Okay, he is one of the leaders, and today you must know that level 1 leadership is gone. It's not applicable, whatever may be the technology. Similarly, level 2 leadership has also gone. Today, the situation has changed and the world has changed. The business, unless the business, may not be any good relationship between the business and, say, the engineering systems or the organizations. If you go through the history of mankind, of the civilization, now the business has been interpreted, in 100 ways. That today, what we assume, that if you want to implement technology in true sense of the term, it's not like just automation and all. Like, say, even if you say the artificial intelligence, and these are the, the talk of the, industries these days. But ultimately the core issue is humans. So we are very happy that, so such an, the event is taking place where our dignitaries, they will, add the values. Obviously, we expect that the performance will be excellent, and obviously you are a young generation, the type of problems you are facing, those problems need to be discussed as far as human resource management is concerned. Another important issue we should focus on, how to make a person intrinsically motivated. Gone are those days that, okay, so the level 1 leadership, I place the order and you have to, execute the order. Gone are those days. In fact, whether, I remember, in fact, when the first time I joined General Electric, so I met my boss, and the first question I asked him, sir, will you allow me to make mistakes? Obviously, it's a trial and error. He says, why not? Yes, it's a learning phase. You have carried out, we recognize your potential, but ultimately you have to show your capability. So obviously, you must be given enough opportunity to learn. And this learning process is nothing but the trial and error. So that should be realized. And only through this approach, with the human approach, how to make the system a human one. So this is most important. I hope that the technology versus the human beings. Sometimes there would be matching, sometimes there may not be matching. So whether I will accept the technology at the cost of the humans, it can never happen, in fact. In the history of mankind, in the history of factory system, it started with the slavery, the kinds of systems. So that means you don't have any existence, okay? The today situation has changed, but then again, the present generation problems are of the different types, in fact, whatever be your knowledge base. So I hope that all these important issues, the critical issues, will be discussed so that you feel as a student that your problems are being discussed. And absolutely there is no such a prescriptive model, there is a descriptive model. So I hope that these panel discussions will be really, help you in understand what is what. That's it, and what is to be done to make a person intrinsically motivated. Okay, so here money doesn't matter or the position doesn't matter. As a human being, we come across, there's so many workers, they are the true assets of any company. Now, today you may not be the asset, tomorrow there is a possibility that you become an asset. So thank you so much, and I again, say welcome you all, and I hope that these panel discussions will be very, very effective. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your immense knowledge with us. These have opened the eyes of our students in functioning towards a sublime career. We are ever grateful to your constant support. Thank you, sir. Great leaders don't set out to be a leader, they set out to make a difference. Before plunging into what we have gathered here for, we would like to take out an opportunity to introduce our illustrious panel. Managing talent is the art of recognizing brilliance, nurturing potential, and orchestrating excellence to shape the future of organization. Welcoming our first panelist, Mr. Bhuvneshwar Nayak, Chief Human Resource Officer at Lentra. An accomplished human resource leader, he holds an MA in Personal Management and Industrial Relations from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai, and a Bachelor of Technology in Electrical and Electronics from National Institute of Technology, Calicut. From Taj Group of Hotels and SC Technologies to SAP, Yahoo, and Capgemini, and now as part of Lentra, he has consistently overseen the development of talents that shape the corporate landscape. Additionally, he co-founded Desk Factors Incorporated, where he successfully secured $1 million in seed funding and played a pivotal role in the design and creation of the B2B SaaS products as Blue Secures. With Lentra FinTech, Mr. Nayak focuses on building a great place to work, founding the base for global scalability for the business. From mentoring CHROs and living with values, Mr. Nayak is a powerhouse of experience.
We would like to humbly request Professor Surojit Mukherjee to felicitate our admired panelist, Mr. Bhuvneshwar Nayak. Thank you, sir. Resiliency is the ability to spring back from and successfully adapt to adversity. We proudly present to you our next panelist, Mr. Deepankar Mukherjee, Zonal Lead, Learning and Talent Management, Performance Management and Employee Engagement at Aditya Birla Group. Mr. Mukherjee's educational background mirrors the diversity of his professional journey, encompassing an MBA in marketing, a diploma in training and development, and a graduation in business and commerce. Versatility often serves as the linchpin for success in any profession, and Mr. Deepankar Mukherjee epitomizes this axiom with an illustrious career spanning over 2 decades. His professional voyage has been punctuated by leadership roles at distinguished organizations including Excite Industries Limited, Shoppers Stop, ITC, Future Group, and Dalmia Cements. Throughout his noteworthy career, Mr. Mukherjee has consistently excelled in multifaceted roles, from pioneering groundbreaking e-learning structures to spearheading national capability building initiatives. His extensive experience in the retail domain has been a driving force behind the augmentation of business growth and operational excellence.
We would like to kindly request Professor Sujoy Bhattacharya to felicitate our admired panelist, Mr. Deepankar Mukherjee. Thank you, sir. The desire to create is one of the deepest yearning of the human soul. Join us in welcoming our next panelist, Mr. Kshitij Bhatnagar, Director, People and Culture, Grant Thornton Bharat LLP. His educational journey includes a Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Science from Jaipur National University, alongside specialized training in SAP, ABAP from Siemens. Throughout his distinguished career, he has consistently excelled in crafting and implementing HR policies, steering organizational development endeavors, and deftly orchestrating intricate recruitment process. His expertise have been honed through leadership roles at esteemed organizations such as Baker Tilly DHC, Truworth Group of Companies Private Limited, KGK Group, and Jaipur Rugs Group. Envisioning a future where success springs from unwavering belief and tenacious pursuit, Mr. Kshitij Bhatnagar stands as a distinguished HR professional with a career spanning nearly 2 decades. He has traversed borders and industries, gaining a comprehensive understanding of the HR landscape.
As a gesture of gratitude, we would like to invite Professor Surojit Mukherjee to felicitate our esteemed panelist, Mr. Kshitij Bhatnagar. Thank you, sir. An efficient learning process helps an organization manage the unknown and leads it to success. Today, we have the privilege of introducing Ms. Nilanjana Chakraborty, Vice President Learning Technology at JP Morgan Chase. A visionary leader with over 25 years of experience, she holds a MTech in Learning Technology from NIIT Neemrana, Rajasthan, a program and project management certification from IIT Kanpur, and is also an Agile Scrum Master. She co-founded Learning Curve Technology. With a distinguished career encompassing diverse roles in industries, she had gained experience at companies including OnTrack, ITpreneurs, HTC Global Services, Aditi Technologies, and ATI Limited. Mentoring startups has been always her forte, and she also loves giving back to her alma mater by mentoring the students at NIIT University in their enterprising activities. Her journey stands as a testament to the belief that learning transcends age and time.
As a token of appreciation, we would like to invite Professor Sushmita Mukhopadhyay to felicitate our esteemed panelist, Ms. Neelanjana Chakraborty. Thank you, ma'am. Success is not final and failure is not deadly. What matters is the fortitude to carry on. Welcoming our next panelist, Mr. Rituraj Sar, Vice President and Head of Learning and Development at Lupin Limited. Mr. Rituraj Sar brings an impressive educational background from having graduated from the esteemed Narsi Munji Institute of Management Studies. With an exceptional career spanning 3 decades, he has acquired invaluable expertise in sales, marketing, performance enhancement, and human resource. His extensive knowledge encompasses various domains, including recruitment, organizational growth, and leadership training. Throughout his illustrious journey, he has occupied significant roles, such as serving as the head of training at IBM Daksh and holding the position of Deputy General Manager at NIS Sparta Limited. His contributions have left a lasting impact on the field of training and professional development. We extend a warm welcome to Mr. Rituraj Sar as we embark on an exploration of the dynamic interplay among leadership, learning, and career advancement.
As a token of appreciation, we would like to invite Professor Sujoy Bhattacharya to felicitate our esteemed panelist, Mr. Rituraj Sar. Thank you, sir. Empowering individuals and fostering diversity is not just a passion, but a responsibility in today's dynamic world. Let's welcome the moderator of the day, Dr. Debjani Roy, Chief HR Advisor to Mind Your Fleet. A human resource and L&D professional, she holds a postgraduate degree in management studies from FMS Delhi and a master's in international relations from JNU. She completed her PhD from SKT University, Rajasthan in organizational behavior. With a remarkable career spanning 29 plus years, she charted her progression across organizations such as NALCO, Bharti Enterprises, HCL Tech, Wipro, Bentley Systems, and Kuoni Travels, amongst others. Notably, she served as a Chief HR Officer at SRL Diagnostics, contributing to the success of profitable JVs within the Fortis Group. In her current capacity, Dr. Debjani is the Chief HR Advisor to Mind Your Fleet, a software startup, and operates her own boutique HR solutions and advisory firm called Wind Beneath the Wings Venture LLP. Her consulting expertise encompasses culture audits, business restructuring, M&A strategy, talent management, and more, including her role as a certified POSH consultant. Internationally recognized as a women diversity activist and champion, She continues to inspire and mentor the next generation of leaders as a regular TEDx speaker and author.
As a token of appreciation, we would like to invite Professor Parma Borai to felicitate our esteemed panelist, Dr. Debjani Roy. Thank you, ma'am.
In the swiftly evolving contemporary work landscape, the role of HR experts is indispensable. Technology's pervasive influence, encompassing multiple emerging technologies, has been transformative across all aspects of our lives, including HR practices. In today's landscape, technology has deeply permeated human resources, elevating employee engagement and relations, talent acquisition and management, as well as strategic planning.
With great enthusiasm, we are delighted to unveil the theme for Vashna 2023, the HR's Futuristic Voyage, a tech odyssey in progress. This theme embarks on a captivating exploration of technology's profound impact on the HR domain.
Guiding us through this enlightening journey is our esteemed moderator, Dr. Debjani Roy, whose expertise will steer our collective exploration. The questions from the batch has been collated and given to Dr. Debjani. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Great job done. Without much ado, I think first things first, want to put in record on behalf of this esteemed panel as well as myself, what an absolute honor and privilege it is to be at IIT Kharagpur in front of all of you. This has been obviously an institution of great esteem and repute, and we just today are basking in the shared sunshine of being a part of this institution. So thank you very much. We feel great to be here, and hope we'll be able to add value to what you've brought us here for. Thank you once again, and I'm not going to waste any further time in laying a context and making it sound, very jargonistic and stuff, because I think enough has already been spoken, and we've gotten our cues from the Dean sir, as well as the esteemed advisor, as well as others, and the young kids on the block. So I'm going to straight away get on to what we are here to discuss today, which in short, is all about this technology burst, this whole aspect of where does technology stand in this entire gamut of HR responsibilities that we have been discharging for so many years, so many decades now. Though I must compliment the way the title of this particular discussion has been framed. The first image I got in mind was that of Star Trek, Voyage and Tech Odyssey and all that. So taking a cue out of that Star Trek journey of ours, I'm going to just pose an opening statement where I'd like all my esteemed panelists to sort of just, share your views very briefly, which is, that the pre-pandemic and the post-pandemic has obviously brought in place a whole lot of differentiation in terms of workforce management. And the way we've always traditionally looked at HR has been very different from the way it is now playing out. Where are we today, therefore, in terms of trying to bridge those differences? And how are we coping with the challenges thereby? And does technology, have a role to play in that? So, Rituraj, if we can start with you.
Thank you so much, Devjani, and it's an absolute pleasure and honor. She's already said that can never be spoken enough about. The pandemic and enough of pandemic, what it has shown to us clearly is the world was divided between problem side and solution side. We as a nation, as a team, were on the solution side. Everybody was suffering. All of us have lost lives of loved ones, but it has taught us a lot. And one of the first learnings that we have kept very close to ourselves as a result and moved ahead is that we need to be continuously, consciously, by design, on the solution side. We cannot be really suffering at the receiving end of what is happening to us. Let me give you a quick example of this within 2 minutes. We made the fastest, quickest, and the best vaccine solution from science. We launched the largest, most extensive vaccination drive across 140 crore Indians, solution from supply chain. We ensured that various disciplines came together to ensure this, facilitate this distribution, whether it is armed forces, it is helicopters, it is supply chain techniques. So it is solution from collaboration, teamwork side. We ensured everybody, each one of us 140 crores actually behaved well, and we followed, lockdown followed, vaccination followed, a mask up followed, hand wash followed, solution from behavior sciences side. Arogya Setu, solution from technology side. So we all saw, we were all witness to and part of, being part of the solution of one of the largest tragedies that had hit us in the recent times. So the trend is to be, the fashion is now to be on the solution side and not really keep talking about the problem. That's my 2 words.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nilanjana.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, students. As ma'am said, we're feeling so good to be here. Thank you for this privilege, and good morning, sirs, ma'am. So just to add to what Mr. Rituraj has shared, I think adaptability, that's the word that we can think of when we talk about HR, before COVID, after COVID. I also want to add that earlier, I think HR was more of a back office work, a lot of support thing. Today, the HR world is very different. HR is partnered with the business. They are identifying strategies, how to care for the employees, how to give them a good experience. These are few of the things that I see is today as is a top priority for the HR world. I think my friends will add more on this. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and good morning to all my esteemed panelists, professors, colleagues. Well, just to add to what Nilanjana spoke about, I would talk about the great David Ulrich, who introduced business partnering in the late 90s. HR was perceived to be, paper pusher, getting the talent on board and disburse salaries, nothing more than that. With the advent of business partnering coming into picture, HR has been, at the helm of driving things. HR has always, supported and partnered the business to ensure they adopt the best strategies in place. And of course, technology and HR will go hand in hand. It has been going hand in hand, and that's going to be for the future as well. So that's the point from my side. Thank you.
Good morning, students, and good morning, professors. I think it's an awesome environment to be here, and awesome auditorium, and really impressed with the infrastructure here since it's my first visit to IIT Kharagpur. Coming back to the point, which we are discussing, I think, human resource has really acted as a catalyst in terms of driving technology. Technology was always there, and from this industry where I come from, majority of the population is very reluctant in terms of embracing technology. It's retail, service sector, and predominantly things are done hands-on, on the floor. I'm sure you would have visited retail outlets, and we used to be proud of the fact that we are always hands-on, we always like to do things, and that human touch should always be there. But post-COVID, as Debjani mentioned, there was no option. And that is where, a very, very critical and a pivotal role has been played by the Human Resource Department in terms of connecting people together through Zoom platforms, through Teams, getting into digital learning platforms, and ensuring that people are still connected. Safety concerns have been addressed. I'm sure all of you are aware there's been a huge spike in terms of adopting mediclaims and medical insurances, post-COVID. That number was very, very less. And I think in the organization also as a part of employee engagement, making people aware of the safety concerns, making people aware, what is good for them. I think that way also, and everything has done through technology, because at that time, I'm sure you remember those horrible years of COVID, everyone suffered, as Rituraj sir had mentioned. I think it's been a great role which has been played by the human resource and organizations today who have been able to tide over those suffering days and would have been able to continue with their successful spree. I think human resources played a very, very critical role in that. Yeah. So let's go ahead with this discussion. I'm sure all of you would be benefited by the views which will be shared by the audience.
Wow, this is high tech. You press once and it works. Hi, good morning. You guys had breakfast? Why this so low volume? Hi, good morning. Come on, guys. Wake up. I know it was an early start at 8:30. Guess what? I woke up at 6 because I never knew that there's sunshine already at 6 o'clock. In Bangalore, it's by 6:30, so, it took time to warm up, but you guys have such low energy. Why? Good morning. I think we can get a bit louder. Good morning. Come on, that's better. Good. So, first of all, thanks a lot for inviting us. In fact, I don't know whose idea was it to put up hoardings with our pictures in your campus. I only saw hoardings of politicians, local gundas, and some celebrities in Bangalore, but this looks different. So yeah, thanks for that. I need to take a picture and send it to my family, my daughter especially, who thinks I do nothing, to say, look, there's a place where, my picture is on a hoarding. So thanks a lot for that. On the topic of post-COVID, pre-COVID, etc., as Dr. Ray was saying, the humans, yeah? There's 7 billion people. There's only one Rakesh Menon. There are no other Rakesh Menons, right? Organizations are grappling with deep complexities. Today, we are dealing with 5 generations of workforce, okay? As an HR person, as a CHRO, our goal is to make a company a great place to work. And why we want to do that? Because as a company, we want the best talent to want to come and work for us. We want talent to feel welcomed. They want to feel developed. They want to experience growth, career growth, great experiences, and then they move on, right? That's how we want to succeed as a company, ultimately with great people, right? Now, to make a great place to work, whether great place to work as a certification or best employer, I'm not talking about those. It's emotions, because there's a difference between happy employees and engaged employees. Does anyone know the difference between happy and engaged employees? Anyone? Come on, wake up. So happy employees are the ones who are happy, right? They get the salary, they give you what you want, they're fine, you're fine, all good. Engaged employees give something called their discretionary effort, right? Something that they need not. They give the discretionary effort. Why? Because they feel they own the company. They feel that success of the company is their success, and there's a deep emotional connect. Now that emotional connect comes from experiences. The way you're treated, the way you're welcomed, the way you're developed, the way you're thanked and celebrated, the way you listen, the way you speak, the way you care, all these things, the way you inspire, all these things sum up into experiences which touch your heart, and that's when you give this discretionary effort, okay? Now, post-COVID, that part in a hybrid world or a remote world became extremely difficult for HR folks. Yeah, and as my colleague was saying, HR actually came in the front to be able to deliver those experiences without the human face-to-face thing, right? Technology did play a role. But now we are in a different situation. Everyone is coming back to work, or this hybrid thing, I don't know, at least it doesn't work for me. You get back to work and you have experienced a remote setup, you're experiencing on-prem setup, and complexities will continue to be there for us. Ultimately, it's about humans, it's about experiences, it's about how you make people feel with technology or without technology, just doesn't matter, right? So more on this subject as we move forward in the discussion.
Thank you so much. I think this was really eclectic, the way it started. And as you can see very well, that the challenges of the COVID, which has just sparked up around us, starting from Lupin Labs playing a pioneering role in healthcare and providing vaccines and humongous drives across the country, to welfare being led by the HR chiefs. Let me just add another part to it. This was the time when the maximum number of CEOs graduated from the HR role. You know why? Because the pandemic threw everybody haywire. We were caught on a wrong footing, we were not prepared. The only guys who stepped up and said, let's think this through, there must be another way of doing workforce management, were the HR guys. So a round of applause for those, because had it not been for them, welfare or no welfare, technology or no technology, this was the brethren, this was the fraternity, which actually held hands with the CEO and brought the organizations back into a semblance of sanity. So, the COVID has changed the terrain, and therefore, today we are possibly now in a better shape to look at things like technology. Can we go 2 steps forward? Can we really adopt technology to make HR better, more profitable, more strategic? So here are some of the very interesting questions, and I must say, I must commend this group who's sitting there, because the questions have all come from you. And some of them are indeed very, very insightful. So I'm going to start off by asking some of my colleagues, for their esteemed opinions on this. And I'll start with Kshitij. You okay with that? All right. So could you share your thoughts on the role of technology in recruiting and talent acquisition across different industries?
Okay, so I'll just take a step back and would like to talk about, how the recruitments would essentially happen. Rewind to 80s and 90s, and I'm sure some of my colleagues will resonate with that. We would receive bulk of resumes, which was, in a way, the inbox in today's world. And we'd skim and scan through those resumes, have this tiresome job of, at least going through 50, 60 CVs in a day, selecting people, shortlisting them, inviting them for interviews, finding the panelists who would be available to take interviews, and go through this rigorous process of recruitment, which is now, which sounds very tiring. Fast forward to, post 2020. Everything's digitized. How do we do it? We have multiple technology-supported systems. We have the ATS, which essentially does the administrative job of skimming and scanning the CVs, shortlisting basis the prerequisites that the business has posted. Basis that, what we get across the table, are those selected people who possess the right talent and the skills that we need. And that saves at least 30 days of effort that we would initially put in. And then it becomes easier for us to identify the set of panelists who are adept in conducting interviews, asking the right questions, with the support of technology again, because we have the JD and the KRAs in front of us. And that, in a way, has made the process more streamlined, more efficient, and more consistent. So that's how the recruitment has progressed. Now, be it any industry, I think the fundamental part is understanding the correct requirements and creating the processes in such a way that those requirements are fed into the system in a more consistent manner.
Thank you. That certainly sets the tempo, and it's probably the right thing to now ask Nilanjana. how has technology enabled you to address the intricate challenges of the business world through learning and development initiatives?
Sure, thank you. So when we talk about business challenges, I think in the business world, there are three key things that I see. First is hiring, second is upskilling, and the third is aligning the talent pool to the business goals. Hiring, I think my panelist friends here will be able to share more on that, so I'm going to leave that part. I'm going to talk more about upskilling and aligning the talent pool. So, as you've heard, I've been in this industry of learning technology for more than 25 plus years. The learning space has grown from a computer-based training to e-learning, and then today we have digital learning. Does any of you know what is CBT? Okay, I just said that, so I want to check if and do you all know what is digital learning? Anybody want to go for that? Yeah? Okay. So in businesses today, what we see is, when we talk about digital learning, we see a lot of mediums of learning being included. So it's a kind of a blended system. I'm sure that you understand that today we are all on our mobile phones. We have about 6 million users in mobile phones. So I say there are two kinds of users. There's the digital native and the digital migrant. I kind of fall on the digital migrant, where we've migrated into being digital. There are all of you here who are digital natives, who are born with, when you're probably a baby, you're very familiar with the mobile phones. So why I was just talking about this is that keeping this is what our learners have been, and this is what my area of work has been, that to work with different kinds of audiences, digital natives and digital migrants. So in my experience, in the organizations that I've worked with, what are the kind of strategies that I've used? And they start from including social learning, gamification. I'm sure all of you love the comics. So I have created courses which are comic book strips, so that gives you the feeling of you're reading a comic book, but you're actually learning. So those are the kind of strategies that I've used. I can give an example where in one of the organizations that I had worked, there was a new hire classroom training for 4 days. I was told to look at it and convert it into a digital learning. There's also a lot of myths about converting a classroom learning to a digital learning, is that people just think that you just convert it into a PowerPoint and put it up in an LMS and that becomes digital learning or e-learning. Well, that's not it. There's a lot of design that goes. So what I worked on was I created something which was just of a 1 hour. It increased the productivity of the employees. So you can imagine from 4 days classroom training to a 1 hour of e-learning as well as social learning. And I want to talk a little more on this, is that a lot of times when we talk about new hire learning, we assign learning in organizations. Some of you who have worked might have seen that, some of you who will work will see. You get assigned to trainings, you go to a training and the expectation is that the knowledge has got transferred and you are productive from day one. Well, that's not what it happens. I think there's a lot of interactivity that is needed. When I say interactivity, you're a new hire in an organization, it's your first day in the office, you want to talk to people, you want to build that relationship. So that's where I introduce the social learning part of it, where learners had to go and meet their teams. They had to interview the teams, understand what's going on, and then come back to the e-learning and answer questions out there. That answer question was not in a multiple choice, but again, a gamification format, which was a Jeopardy game. So this is an example that I wanted to share, which is using technology in business challenges. There's a lot more that I can continue to talk about, but I think I'll just move ahead and we'll just go to the next question. Thank you.
Thank you, Nilanjana. And I think, Dipankar, I'm going to come to you on this because absolutely on cue to what she talked about, the multiple mediums, you know, in your experience, because you've also been very deeply entrenched into this field, how has technology-driven learning and talent management evolved over the years, and what specific challenges have you encountered?
So, to answer your question, first of all, if you look at learning and development, you know, when it all started, it's all about traditional classroom sessions and trainers walking in and probably putting up a boring slideshow for probably 100, 150 slides and, you know, giving a download. And people are expected to consume all that and go back and implement it. You know, that's the way traditional things happen. But when you know, this continued for a long time, then people realized that it is very, very difficult for talents to stay away from their workplace for such a long time, number one. Number two, people started questioning. It's not that they don't question now. What is the efficacy or what is the ROI, typically, you know, return on investment on any learning intervention? Now, that is where technology stepped in. Now, when training started, everybody had a computer. They used to show, like what she mentioned. That is not technology-enabled training. Let's understand and let's get that very clear. So people wanted solutions from us. That is where, you know, the challenge started. You know, people said that we are not interested, you know, calling people here, talking about some mumbo jumbo, doing some activities, and in expanding a training session. Like I remember, maybe 10, 15 years back, we used to conduct, you know, in the organization called Future Group, there used to be this induction called Praram, which used to continue for 10 days. And you can imagine today, I mean, nobody would allow us, somebody who is onboarded and out of his workplace for 10 days only for an induction. So that is where, you know, the technology stepped in. And technology, please remember this. If we can't give a solution to our stakeholders, whether it's manual or technology, nothing is going to work. Everything will work only it is solution driven. There has to be a problem statement. Yeah? So everything begins with a problem statement. If there is no problem statement, we need not implement technology also. Like, for example, in retail, we have almost 70 to 75% of our employees who are on the front end. And they just go, and human interaction, customer engagement is the key. So we really don't need any technology. Maybe after 20, 25 years, they'll be replaced by robots. We don't know. But as on date, you know, that is not required because there is no problem statement. So to answer her question, there was this challenge that how could we reduce the time of the learners and help them to go back to their workplace ASAP, at the same time enhance their productivity, enhance their learning experience also, both ways. So hence technology came in, and then we currently, we have this LMS platform, which is app-based, and you can just pick up your smartphone. So the moment an employee joins an Aditya Birla group, you know, nowadays they have this app immediately, they're asked to download this app, and there's a ring fencing which happens, and they're capturing their in-time, out-time, the moment they're within 10 meters of vicinity of their workplace. Gone are the days of signing registers or even punching the biometrics. And there are learning modules that are immediately auto-assigned. So how it happens is, obviously there is a lot of artificial intelligence which plays into play, you know, comes into place. So there's a lot of algorithm which is fitted in. So the AI bot knows the moment an employee has joined, within 3 working days, he has to be issued the value module, the POSH module, and the, you know, digital induction. The moment he completes 15 days, based on his competency, based on the role for which he is hired, there are certain competency-based module which gradually gets assigned. And there's a learning path. You know, because unless you complete one, there might be a smart cookie and say, hey, I'll jump into another module and let's not get into values and POSH, it's too boring. You can't do that. So that is the beauty of learning path. You know, that also solved the challenge. That ensured the learner followed a specific learning path from reaching A to B or B to C. You can't jump, neither you can skip. That's one. Second, of course, is the assessments. When we have technology in assessments, that ensures that there is a standardization. And the right thing is given to the right person. We human beings are all driven by emotions. The moment there is a human intervention, there is bound to be variations. But technology has ensured there is a standardization of assessment. People are assessed based on the competencies and the knowledge, skills they're required to attend, and that's how it drives. However, the major challenge is that once we roll out technology, many organizations, is the audience mature enough to consume that technology? That also is a very, very big challenge. If you have a large number of people who are just 12th pass or 10th pass and very, very weak in terms of English communication or a vocabulary, then obviously it becomes a challenge, because if I have to create technology-driven learning intervention in vernacular language, we are looking at providing Hindi technology in places like Bihar, Jharkhand, providing Odia in Odisha or Assamese in Assam, and that's a huge investment. And most of even at organization like ABG, it will be a very big challenge to implement that. So we always look at English as a standardized medium, but of course, how far our audience is able to consume that technology, because if you can't consume it, then the productivity also will get affected. So these are the challenges, but if you do a kind of a plus-minus interesting PMI kind of analysis, I think infusion or injection of technology from the days of traditional classroom sessions to the digital learning platforms and the way things have transformed is definitely reduce the time in terms of the learner, how much time the learner needs to consume a particular knowledge, and also ensured a lot of cost reduction, because the travel time. If you are holding, a traditional classroom session, people are traveling from different places. Apart from time, there's a lot of cost also which gets involved. And overall, as a cost-benefit analysis, that also have helped us as an organization. So I think there's a huge, way to cover. There's a lot of learning. We are learning also in the process. But I think the way technology has, encroached and intervened into the learning and talent management sphere, and as the discussion moves on, I'm sure there'll be a lot of other views which will be expressed. It's a very, very big boon in disguise, and it'll only act to the benefit of both the learners as well as the organization.
Whoa, that's all I can say. That were so many points packed into one, right? And thank you, Dipankar. To a great extent, you went granular, and sometimes it helps to sort of connect when you sort of look at the brass tacks. Thank you. Now I'm going to bring it up again to 35,000 feet, okay? And talk about something which is related to L&D in a big way, which is talent management. And Bhuvaneshwar, my question to you, how has technology transformed talent management during your career journey across diverse organizations?
Thanks. So, first of all, don't worry too much about technology. I mean, I saw all your questions. It was all about AI, 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 and then little more AI. I did not see metaverse, which was talk of the town yesterday. I did not see machine learning, which was day before yesterday. I don't know what comes tomorrow. Don't worry, there's this, I know there's this FOMO factor. But don't worry about that. There's always something out there. In fact, there's enough technology, enough innovation, enough HR tech startups in the world that will help you run your business well, okay? I think what's important is to see what's relevant, okay? Now, there's different stages where you need to see what is most useful for you, okay? Now, if you are in a startup, if you're a 100-people company, you don't need tech. You can operate in Excel sheets, okay? What works there is 1 or 2 people. Classic HR to employee ratio is 1:50, up to a headcount of about 200, 250 people, okay? What works for a company when you're 200 will not work when you're 1,000. Obviously, you scale up, right? In scaling up, you look at a headcount ratio, HR to people, at about 1:75. And at about 1,000, 1,500 people, you bring in systems, because that's the stage when you want to optimize, when you want to standardize, when you want to become more evolved as an HR organization, where you bring COEs like total rewards. There's a recruiting COE, then there's learning and development, or talent management, performance management, then you have HR ops and whatnot, okay? When you bring COEs, you're bringing in experts. The HR to headcount to employee headcount ratio decreases again. It comes to about 1:60, something like that. But then you bring technology to scale, okay? What I mean by scaling is looking at very basic tech stuff like employee self-services, manager self-services, so that your face-to-face interaction for really mundane things has to go down, because ultimately, if you're a CHRO, you're not just worried about or thinking about delivering employee experiences. You're also looking at unit economics. You're looking at cost of service of every service that you provide to people. You're looking at optimizing your headcount. So when you're 5,000, 10,000 people, your headcount should be 1:150, something like that. In fact, Forbes, based on some research, says that an ideal optimized headcount for HR to employee, the ratio should be 1.4 people for every 100 people. But if you're a small company, it's typically 3 to 100. If you are reasonably evolved, it will be about 2.25, something like that. But your target, whenever you're a CHRO, should be how to get to 1.5 people for every 100. That's where technology comes. Because when you're small, when you don't use much of technology, 40% of your efforts go into administrative tasks. Another 40% of your efforts go into transactional tasks. Then you're using only 10% for performance. Performance, I mean not performance management, but your ability to hire, train, deliver productivity and the performance metrics and building a high performance culture, whatnot. That's only 10%. Then the remaining 10% is left for so-called HR strategic topics where you're working with the CEO for the future, okay? The change you have to see where technology becomes an enabler is moving from 40% administrative tasks to 20%, 40% transactional tasks to 20%, 10% performance to 40% performance, 10% strategy to 20% strategy. Okay, that's how it has to evolve. Now, I mean, just coming back to the question, I have seen tech play a crucial role, but again, when I was heading talent management globally for SAP, I was tasked to kill performance ratings, which was happening for the last 40 years. I'm talking about 2015. There were only 30 companies in the world which had killed performance ratings at that time, companies of our size at SAP, right? And SAP was also selling HR software, by the way, called SuccessFactors, and Lupin was a big customer for us, and I think Aditya Bill, I don't know, some of you maybe, but that time I was with Lupin as well. So we did not have software which could enable continuous dialogue. Our software was also like old school. You have to have performance ratings, you have to have the bell curve, you have to have this, that. So we had to internally develop software which delivers continuous dialogue and start selling it to our customers saying, performance ratings are passé, you got to have this futuristic thing, and then start selling as well. So tech is just an enabler. If it's not there, you can get it developed, okay? So don't worry about technology. It will come and go. Do what is important, which is delivering good experiences for people. I mean, look at this. We could have done this meeting on Zoom, right? 2 years back, this would have happened on Zoom. Why did we all come here? Why are you all dressed up in suits and sitting in front of us? I mean, we took flights, 3-hour journey, traffic, everything to come here for experience. This experience is invaluable. Though we have technology, we are still here, right? So technology, don't worry. Just do what is right for the business. Stay relevant, run faster, innovate, and you will find tech that will help you, okay?
After this kind of a discussion which told you how things have changed, where things have moved, I think it's now the most apt thing to hear from Rituraj sir, that if things have changed and if the terrain is moving in a certain direction, what are the new competencies, what are the new kind of, wherewithals in terms of knowledge, in terms of application science, are the today's generation of HR managers supposed to bring to the table to be able to cope with these kind of changes? Because that is going to round up this, at least this part of the discussion, which says, yes, things have changed, don't worry about it, use common sense, continue to practice the human part of the HR, but at the same time, become alive to technology. Now that requires a new sort of skill sets, and he's going to throw light on that. All yours.
Thank you. With your permission, what a wonderful discussion that we've been having. And from technology to you, I'm coming to you. How many of you are yet to get placed? Please raise hands. How many of you are yet to get placed? Please raise hands, full hands, all hands up like this. All right. So safe to say about 60% of this auditorium? All right. So let me tell you something that Professor Ray said, very first thing, is the first one that I wish to share as part of my answer. He said, Professor Ray said, handling failure. Now, I'm not saying you have failed. Handling rejection, how do you take it? Handling not success, handling challenges, how do you take it? Now, this is what you need to be learning. This is what India showed to the world. This is what Bharat showed to the world during COVID days. And somehow you guys never clap for what you guys have been doing through this challenge of COVID. You've been successful, you have achieved so much, and you have learned so much if you are aware. You have learned so much. I think we must really stop, take a pause, and clap for entire Bharat for the way we have fought through COVID. Unless you learn to appreciate what you've done well, you would not have the enhanced sense of self-worth to handle your failure. Unless you have an intact self-esteem, you would not be able to face challenges. If you think you wish to only get success, you need to get away from this ship. You, of course, need to raise your bar to ask for next challenge. You need to find out the most critical problem in the organization you are working in and find your solution to that problem. So that's skill number one, handling rejection, handling failure. You need to be a master at your own self-worth, and you cannot afford to feel that you are a victim of what is happening to you, number one. Number two, I'm very excited to see so many of you have reached on LinkedIn and invited me, and of course I've accepted each one of those invites, but many have not yet still done that. This is number two skill set required, which is networking, professional networking. Many of us somehow tend to really underplay it, and we don't know what to do about it. So many of your alums out there, and not only alums, so many of your role models out there, just send invites to them. Let it be cold if it is not a personalized message. Just send invites to them, and let it be whatever number of responses you get. But it is in your control to send invites on LinkedIn, through various other means. Follow people, build network. It pays to be at the right place at the right time. There is nothing called luck. It's only for you to keep at it continuously. So that is skill set number two that I'm talking about, of building network consciously by design. And one testimony of that is that you actually start sending out invites for LinkedIn. Take a target within the coming week. I'm giving you a specific target. Within the coming week, you must have 100 LinkedIn invites accepted from your people of interest of your profile, not anybody and everybody. Take that target, and so that's a challenge. Take that as a problem, handle that failure for yourself, and see how you can be successful on that. And number three and final skill set that I wish to share with you is to learn to collaborate. By the way, where is Parag? Yeah, good. So Parag is here, and he has actually collaborated, and of course his team, Rakesh and Shairi and Radha, whom I met yesterday. They have collaborated with so many and tried to put this act together for you. And when you collaborate, you are not collaborating with people of your preference, with your likes. You need to be working with likes and dislikes. Big round of applause for the organizing team. The way Parag has got us here today, no comparison, but 17 years ago I got Ramcharan. Heard of Ramcharan? Heard of Ramcharan? So I got Ramcharan to loop in 17 years ago. Ever since then I've been connected with him. So much so that I keep updating him of my updates. Of course, whole world reads about his updates, but I keep updating him about my updates, and I am privileged to receive responses from him on every time, within 48 hours max, otherwise 24 hours, on everything that I share with him as my query, curiosity, or update. There is always blessings and good wishes coming from him. Power of networking, power of collaboration. I didn't feel, come on, that's Ramcharan. Here am I. Where will he remember me? He's CEO coach #1 of the world. Just giving you an example. You need to be able to collaborate with especially those people that you do not think you particularly like or they are your preference groups, because they are also part of your ecosystem. And that will make you really corporate ready as you hit it going forward. And it's not only about getting into a job, it's about actually launching yourself into a great career. And for that, I once again repeat these 3 things, my dear friends. Number 1 is, what is number 1? And number 2? And number 3? Thank you.
Thank you. And those were real life cues, okay? I'm very pragmatic, on the ground, no fly-by-night. One has to work hard towards getting where it is. That's what made us also possibly come this way, to be eligible enough to sit on the dais across all of you. You know, I'm going to change the format a wee bit more so that we can actually hear more from the speakers and on certain elements which are there on this paper, which are of more critical importance. So I'm going to pick up this question like, how can the HR departments, at this point of time, when we are talking technology and multiple ways of looking at the function, how can HR departments harness the power of data analytics, you know, to identify skill gaps within the organization and design targeted training and development programs? Because it's one thing to talk about these initiatives in isolation. The other thing is to integrate them with exactly what is going to stare at us, especially for this generation when they get into the corporate corridors. So can I request, oh, Nilanjana, yes.
Thank you. So data analytics plays a very big role in personalizing training. We earlier had training or learning and development. I won't say training, I'm going to use learning and development. It was very generalized. We had, like Dipankar said, you know, you have a mass mail going out to everybody, you assign training, you do that, and that's done. But that's not what is the need of the hour. Need of the hour is my requirement can be different from somebody else's. And that's where technology plays a role. Technology is not here, and I just want to clarify this for all of you here, is that technology is not here, and coming from a learning technology background, is not here to remove classroom or interaction based or any kind of, you know, face-to-face. It is just adding, it's a catalyst, it gives you a beneficial thing. It's more involved in the continuous learning. So coming back to that is that data analytics plays a very key role in understanding what two people, so for example, you know, I'm going to use names here, say for example Rakesh and Parag. So Parag and Rakesh may have different learning needs, and data analytics plays a very critical role in understanding their needs. It plays a very important role in creating their learning paths. We are moving away from a structured learning to an unstructured learning. So what would be Rakesh's learning path to Parag's learning path could be completely different. Rakesh may prefer a classroom based, whereas Parag may like a mobile learning. So that's where data analytics plays a very key role. I can give an example here where, you know, especially in a call centers, specialists have, the call center executives, they have a lot of metrics which comes up. Now earlier what used to happen is they were all given the same kind of learning they were assigned, whether it was classroom or online or whatever, it was completely the same. Today with data analytics, we are able to identify the metrics of each of these executives, where they are lagging behind. So for example, again, I'm going to use Rakesh and Parag's name, that Rakesh probably is not so good at problem solving. So he needs some kind of training there in problem solving. Whereas Parag needs probably in talking to the customer, is not confident. So those are the kind of things that data analytics plays a role, a very key role, where and in terms of design, we say that it's a feed backward model where we are taking the data and we are feeding into the system and creating your learning plan. Thank you. I hope I answered that.
Just want to add two more things here. So as Nilanjana was saying, I think tech and data will help personalize and contextualize at scale. I think that's the key, and like Rakesh and Parag's example, right? Recently, I came across a tool called Guru. It's a website, gooru.org, Guru. It's founded by the person who worked on Google Maps, and he brought the concept of Google Maps to learning, and it was designed for schools, which we found it quite relevant for companies as well, so they're commercializing now. It's basically your personalized journey at your pace. Just like Google Maps, you put a destination, it throws up 2-3 paths with roadblocks, traffic situations. You're making a choice, and in your journey, you take a detour, it reworks your route plan with the most optimized way. And it's constantly looking at new content, new everything that can feed you in your journey, right? So there are the beautiful tools like that. I was very impressed with Guru. I've seen many tools, but this was really awesome. You know, it just simplifies everything in your head, because the fact is it was designed for school children, makes it even more adaptable and consumable, digestible for adults. Yeah, so.
And just to add to it, so how many of you have heard about our organization, Grant Thornton, which is into consulting? Oh, wonderful to see so many hands going up. Yeah, it is, and that feels good. So I'll just give you a couple of examples that we as a progressive organization have done, and let's start with the name. Why is it called Grant Thornton Bharat? Maybe 3 years back, the name was Grant Thornton India LLP. So maybe the strategic management team does have that progressive mindset that they could see the nomenclature change being adopted for the country. They started with that and led by example. So, you know, our philosophy is shaping a vibrant Bharat. Now, how do we shape a vibrant Bharat? Is by enabling our people. And how do we enable our people? To create such platforms by enabling technology in such a way that people can sort of choose their own career path. Predominantly, we are known to hire chartered accountants. We also have you know, people from technology background, so on and so forth. For any practice that a person chooses, for example, an audit, he's been working for, let's say, a couple of years in audit, and he sees a lot of scope in a risk practice or a forensics practice. So internally, we have those platforms being created that through training need identification, we can analyze who has got those skill sets and acumen to move to another set of practice. And then we have created learning passports. So by the advent of learning passports, we can you know, transfer that skill set in people, upskill them, upgrade them to be able to change or get a transfer to another practice. There is something called as mesh. So we understood that, you know, the static goals may not work any longer. So we've tried to create more dynamic goals, and there could be, you know, 3 to 4 months of a journey where a person sort of utilizes his skills, fulfills his goals, and he would want to move on. You know, no one wants to work on the same boring static goals for one continuous year. So we've created a platform through which people can feed in their own goals, they can fulfill their goals and look forward. And through this platform, you know, which is like a Facebook marrying LinkedIn, people can also create pods of interest. So for example, I and Nilanjana have interest in data analytics. We can connect, and we could be from completely two different teams, different regions, different geographies. We can still connect through the advent of mesh. We can discuss, we can create a couple of projects, and who would be those project managers, people who are leading these projects with certain set of clients, and they can rate us. So basis that, we've got a 360-degree feedback from someone else. Maybe it has helped my organization to also identify what are my strengths, where I can do better, and then with the learning passports in place, we can maybe just get those trainings organized and ensure that people have this flexibility inside the organization.
Just wanted to throw some light on the process, how we identify the skill gaps through data analysis or data analytics. I think that's what Dibjani was talking about. See, successful organizations will always ensure that people are top performers. The base or the largest chunk should be mid performers, and we should always churn out the non-performers. See, because again, as I mentioned, it has to be a problem statement. If I identify the skill gaps, what would it lead to? What am I going to achieve? So this is one of the most important objectives, that how can I identify my top performers, my medium performers, and my non-performers through identification of skill gaps, which could lead to some capability building interventions. So on one side, you will have the performance. So last 2 years performance rating would be there, 5-scale performance rating. And then on the other side, there's a huge process called potential assessment, or PA as we call it. So every group, like Aditya Birla Group, we have a matrix. We have a performance matrix. We have a capability matrix. And on that, every year, we conduct a huge activity where we have a 9-box matrix. We call it 3x3 matrix, wherein we plot the last 2 years' performance in a 5-point rating scale, and it is done from job band. We have a concept of job bands. So from job band to job band, this activity is done. And on one side, one axis, just imagine that matrix, 9-box with X and Y, and one axis we have the performance, and we call it 1, 2, 3, 3 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. And on the other hand, we have the potential assessment. So ABC. So A being the highest and C being the lowest. So 3A would be my key talents or top performers, and obviously 1C would be my bottom performers. So now and it's a huge activity because of paucity of time, I don't want to get into the details, but what we have is a huge data, performance versus potential, because please understand a person's ability to take up larger roles or a person's need to acquire new skills has to be a blend or a combination of his performance and potential. Now high potential may not show high performers, or high performers may not have high potential. It does not work that way. So there's a complex data, huge amount of data which is available. And from that, as I mentioned, once we identify the low performers, as she was also talking about, it has to be, it cannot be a one-size-fits-all approach. So people who are low performers, we have a concept called PREP, Performance Reinforcement and Enhancement Plan, which leads to Performance Improvement Plan, PIP. And then, the consequences. And for top performers, we sponsor programs, high programs in Harvard or international programs, where we make them feel valued. See, because every organization has to nurture, has to retain its top talents. We cannot afford to lose our top talents. So this is actually possible through the skill gaps and from this huge data which we have, and the data gives us the understanding that who are the people, what kind of interventions, and please understand, training is a subset, everything is an employee engagement. Yeah, involving somebody, sending somebody to represent Aditya Birla Group or any organization in an international platform or an international platform itself is a huge amount of recognition for that employee. You always don't need to train that person. Yeah, I think yesterday evening we were having a discussion where you are assigned with a master coach and you are given a coaching for 2-3 weeks, and under the influence of the person, you can develop. So we have a concept called 70-20-10. 70% is on the job, 20% is mentoring and coaching, and only 10% is traditional classroom sessions. So that is the kind of concept, the futuristic HR or the futuristic organizations are moving into.
Thank you, Dipankar. Thank you. And I think what we need to take out of what Dipankar spoke about is that while these factors are moving in a look-ahead kind of a manner, where we need to see them not from a traditional angle, but from the way it can be now enabled through technology for better decision making, for better insights, and thereby a better way of nurturing people and taking them ahead. So, because at the end of the day, we need to now focus on every aspect of HR from a point of view of, can it be automated? And if so, what do we get out of that? So, a very small example, and with your permission, I'd like to come in here with a single insight. You see, we've all been laboring with this whole concept of attrition. Attrition management is a very large part of the HR functionality. Now, every time the board meetings would happen, the CHRO would walk up there and present slides like, this is my annual attrition rate, this is the industry I'm playing with, this is the best industry benchmark, and I'm so much lower or I'm so much higher, so thereby what is the action plan ahead? Today we are no longer speaking that language. Today we are talking about, in that whole one single figure, let's say 27% attrition in the market, how much is my regrettable loss? And how much is the amount that I can actually live with? Which means that with the help of data and analyzing that data and churning it through algorithms, which are again a part of the technology that we are talking about in nascent form, we are able to say to ourselves that, okay, if I've lost 100 people in a financial year, out of that 100, there were actually 30 people who were below average in any way performance. So that's really nothing that I should spend tears on. I'm happy because I didn't have to do something like a pink slip to actually exit them out of the system. But what's my regrettable loss is, of the 100 people, minus the 30, maybe there were 20 who were sustainers, I'd still take them along because they are average performers, but I lost 20 star performers. And that's my regrettable loss, because I did not do enough when the time was good to be able to spot out, what should have been focused at that point of time. Today we are using technology to conduct stay interviews. We don't only now do exit interviews. Rather, that concept is slowly and steadily moving out of the scene. We are now getting to understand stay interviews, where putting people through certain tests and adaptability measures, that is the use of technology, which can actually tell you that, okay, is this person now beginning to sit on a fence? Is there something bothering him? Psychometric testing is not just for analyzing whether a person is good to take in, but also some of these running tests tell you what is the mental shape in which your employee is working. So there's enough and more that's happening in this world of HR technology. We have to wake up and smell that coffee. Because if we are not able to do it on time, we'll keep laboring under the same style of HR delivery, which I think none of us, at least the 5 of us, the 6 of us sitting on this dais, are really prepared for. We want to move ahead with the time, adopt what's good, and take it forward. So thank you very much. I think that was one big round of discussion around, what goes into the different nuances, what kind of technology adaptations can we look at, and that brings me to some isolated one-off kind of questions, which I'm now going to pose, to my esteemed panelists here. Rituraj, evaluating candidates' answers to interview questions through AI is becoming quite common. That's cited as one of the fastest movement towards technology adoption. Do you think this is a feasible and effective way to screen candidates? And what are the potential drawbacks?
To screen candidates using AI. Very interesting. Very important for us to realize a clear trend that is happening, friends. While functions like supply chain are critically concrete functions within an organization, HR is dissolving. Every line manager needs to be a good HR manager. No longer HR can be a separate, in isolation, function of expertise. So this is a clear trend that is happening, for example. And therefore, what it means is, in fact, stay interviews also are now moving into next level of imagining, the word that Bhuvaneshwar used in his very first moment, experience. Experience is not something about past, no longer. It's not my past experience. it is the moment. What is the experience we are giving to employees? What are the touch points we are giving to employees? How can we imagine on behalf of an employee, how is he or she actually feeling engaged, challenged, excited to come back to work this morning? This needs to be continuously answered by line managers and HR managers included. This imagining, visualizing touch points that we need to create around people is actually the next level too. In fact, because if you ask somebody that I'm going to ask you a stay interview, the guy starts wondering, am I supposed to leave? They're wondering why I'm staying around. You know, it has got its own. So we handle that in stay interview. No, it's not that. This is actually a success that we are trying to examine, etc. But here we are very, very proactively and kind of thinking ahead and trying to visualize the moment a customer walks, an employee walks in as a customer, what attracts him or her, what will make him, ultimately what does this employee want? He wants excitement of challenge, he wants learning opportunities, he wants growth, and he wants to contribute. In the process, grow also. This is all that an employee wants. Now, if you do it through AI and try and find out what is it that an employee is worth, whether he is worthy of being or she is worthy of being recruited, something is missing somewhere. Don't all of us wait for that button 9 to talk to the operator. So AI has its own limitations. AI, interestingly, is also more of the same. Beautifully said again by Bhuvneshwar, that it's actually setting the context at a scale. But AI has its own path that has been determined by past. Where is intuition? Where is breakthrough happening? Where is new happening? If we are only going to repeat more of the same, and therefore, this in-person experience is what you guys have traded for. You paid for our flights and our stay and whatever else, so that you get to have this button 9 with us rather than going through a Zoom experience and get a checkbox done that we got some experience. And AI is a great enabler, but not really the dependent factor for us, is my answer to this.
So two things. One is when it comes to AI interviews, to the question, honestly, it doesn't matter. AI or any software you use will not 100% tell you this is the perfect candidate who fits your company and will rock and roll and make your company sing and dance and all that stuff. You're just lucky if that happens, okay? Recruiting, at least in my opinion, in my experience, is largely a stomach feeling. You interview a person, from your vantage point, with your experiences, you assume, you presume, you make an assessment, and then you make a hiring decision. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Great CEOs have made great mistakes in hiring and have also made great hiring decisions as well. I know of a company, Target, I think, in Bangalore. They took 1.5 years to hire a HR head. They had a psychologist in UK who interviewed on psychometry and whatnot. They put a battery of psychometric tests and this and that to see the candidate is culture fit. One of my friends got the job finally after 1.5 years of search. Now guess what? In 6 months, the guy left because he just couldn't fit the culture. So what happened to this psychometry tests and this and that and AI and all that stuff, right? It doesn't work. It's human to human. We are in people business, right? One. Two, as talking about stay interviews, etc. Some years ago, there was this big thing about predictive analytics and all that stuff, right? Massive stuff. And then there was a startup which said, we predict when someone will leave your company. I'm like, no, I don't want to know that. Even if someone is not thinking they want to leave, you go and start tickling the person. It's a buyer-seller attitude. Let's say you own something, you have no intention of selling, then someone comes and says, maybe, there's a good market, you want to sell, it starts playing in your head, right? So if someone is really loyal, you call the person because your tool says he or she will leave in exactly 6 months, then you start telling the person you should stay, the person will start thinking to leave then. So I don't know, this tools and techno, sometimes some of these are scary and I stay away from them.
Okay, lovely that you mentioned the point about culture. I must tell you, culture is built by people. Okay, culture doesn't come through infrastructure. It doesn't come through the treasury and the purses. It doesn't come from the product in the market. Culture is all about people and what they bring to the table. And I think the very fact that we are talking about technology, AI, and everything else today, we need to somewhere put a little bit of a slow pace and say, while we do process technology, we are all alive to it, we are adapting to it, let's not take the human out of the human resource. That's a cardinal point. As long as the H of the HR is alive and the culture has to be built across an organization, I think there is enough room, enough toil, enough sweat that HR professionals will have to continue to say. And that is why Peter Drucker says, you know, culture eats strategy for breakfast. You may be the best strategy master in this world, but when it comes to culture, which is all about people, the way they behave and the way they adapt to things, it is notches ahead. Okay, I'm going to now round up with the last question of the session.
I just wanted to add to that, sorry. So this is again, you know, just my thought, and a product that I'm mentoring is that I think AI will play a role, and my esteemed panelists can confirm on that. I think initially when resumes come, there's a lot of screening process. That is quite a task. So like a company that I'm mentoring, and they have a product, what they're doing is, and that's also something that I see new, is that we always have questions which are multiple choice questions. I don't think we can screen candidates giving them multiple choice questions, because I might, you know, I might want to say something else and the points may not be there and they may not match up to what I'm thinking. So what this product does is, it's called Skill IQ, is that it allows you to answer open-ended questions. So it's a question and the answer is open-ended. So that's something, and that's how they are screening the first level of resume. So that's where I think it will play a role, which is the initial part. Of course, latter part, I would still say that the human is important. So
Sure,
I just
sure.
want to add to that. Thank you.
And I think there are a lot of people who would like to use AI and technology in the recruitment space are also talking about keyword searches and, you know, voluminous resumes. And you actually save on people, save on cost, save on time, and effort and time is also a part of the revenue, okay, the cost. So I think by adapting to these enabling technology bits, we are thereby able to reduce the monotonous and the people-heavy stuff and move on to more value-added. I think that's the way we have to actually look at enabling technology within HR, where we can reduce the monotony, where we can reduce the repetition part of the job and get on to doing more value-added stuff. Thank you for bringing that point to light.
Strategy part is more we focus, and that's what we started off by saying, that HR today is more involved in the strategy part.
In this way, it has become actually a business partner.
Exactly.
That's
what
the
partnership.
genesis of the whole term. Kshitij, you are a young Turk, okay? Still, you know.
Thanks for calling that out.
No, so I'm going to pose this question to you, is that many of us have started to feel, especially when we go for campus drives and we pick up students from the current campuses, you know, years up. Sometimes we feel, because of the large drive of changes that has come about and the refocusing of challenges within HR, and I don't just mean to point HR, but that's what the topic says. But it's probably there in the education curriculum of all the different kinds of functions. So I have a very large deal of the academic community who are talking about, can we look at the curriculum within the established institutions in a more corporate friendly way, in a sense that the education could be brilliant, okay, world class, which is what India boasts of. But then, is it really talking to the need of the hour, to the corporates the way we need to? So are we actually getting a face-to-face platform where the two are able to have a healthy exchange and thereby co-create, you know, a more progressive kind of a curriculum that we probably need? What's your sort of insight into that?
And it's a very valid point. Thanks for bringing that out. In fact, as an organization, since we venture into the Camp ACE program, is what we call the Campus Connect, we've been constantly striving to, make it more progressive, more enriching, more exchanging between the students and the organization, and also to sort of incorporate some of the curriculum, which is more in line with what are the skill sets expected by our organization, and then we constantly worked on that. So there is something called as a it is called case Eno. So it is like a case study which is thrown to almost 10,000 students. So we've had one program, and there's another one coming up in the mid of October, where the students from all premier institutes, they'll come together on virtual platform, and we'll be throwing different case studies of Flipkarts and the Amazons and Capgemini, so on and so forth. And people will be forming cohorts. And through those cohorts, we'll be selecting the two or three best case studies. And through that, we'll also be able to identify who are those minds that, we should target as part of the next campus recruitment drive. It is an extended arm of hackathon. Hackathon is a concept which is really coming up these days. When organizations call or invite students in their premises, they get to interact with people working there. They get to experience the overall atmosphere, the overall ecosystem, how people interact with each other. So they get to spend a complete day, and they don't come with those biases or inner feelings of how will I be perceived? I'm a student, I'm in this organization, will anyone talk to me? So, everyone will be pretty much welcoming towards them. Once they enter into the organization, we'll treat them as our own employees for one day. They get to interact with people, they get to experience that, which will help a lot when they actually sit for the campus drives. So these are some of the programs that we are working on, and very valid point. A lot of institutes will also have to now start thinking about incorporating this in the curriculum.
Yes, Ruturaj, I'm very prompt hand up there, and I know Nilanjana is waiting to have a go at this.
Here is a faculty who wants student to learn, gain knowledge. Here is a student who wants to find a job through this course. Here is a college who's just bothered about placements. Now these are the 3 points of this triad. Curriculum. Curriculum suffers at the hands of a faculty whose wish is unfulfilled, because nobody is in the class to really learn and gain knowledge. And student suffers because he is at the mercy of faculty who is living in a different planet. College has got its own priority. This is our reality. NEP has happened. A lot of noble effort has been put in national education policy. A lot of noble effort has been put in, but there is curriculum and there is curriculum. Recently, I was talking to director of a B school, and I said employability gap. She said we are doing everything that is required to bridge this employability gap. And then I was very curious to understand what all they are doing. Everything they are doing, but is it being done enough through the application? Why do we still have employability gap between what is done in the college and what is required in the corporate? Now this is all moving wheels. This is also moving wheel, this world, this is also moving wheel. Everybody is right in its own set. But why is this big gap? Because curriculum is not answering applications and relevance in terms of job skills. Some of those things that we just discussed in our discussion earlier on. This is not anybody's fault, but it is for all of us to put together our heads and really create work, live in action projects. Now when we do internships, for example, the way we approach internships in itself is not hidden to anybody. Now how many internships are actually being taken seriously to really translate into a POP? How many of internships are just going waste because they are just required as a customary tick box to be done? So the approach of curriculum has to be a lot of responsibility with corporate also about application, and we need to do a lot of hard sell because we are talking to academia. Academia is in another world very, very validly, very, very importantly, world. But this curriculum in itself is not the answer. The contextualization of curriculum, the application of that curriculum is the answer, and that also needs to be a moving needle year after year, because there is so much happening out there in the world of reality. So we need to make these three angles come as close as possible if we want to make sense of our so-called education and employment post-education. And more importantly, post-employment, how are we contributing towards myself as well as my nation as building this nation? Those are the answers we need to find through curriculum and the format of curriculum.
Well, so well elucidated. Nilanjana, and then I will come to both of you too, because I want to close the discussion, capping this particular aspect. I think this is the finale of the rest of the discussions.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
Nilanjana.
Sir has very nicely put there that the gap, the knowledge and the competency gap is what I say, you know, the corporates as well as the institutions. It is, and I do understand the challenges of institutions because they have a curriculum, they are following a certain university standard, and for them to suddenly change the entire, so India, it's NEP although has come, it's still going to take some time to adopt in schools. Internships is a very important thing, and I just wanted to share this product. It's again a product idea that I was talking to universities, where internships, I believe, what we do is we are just looking at it probably at the last semester, the second last semester. Why? Why not from the first? Because if we have, if we assign credits for competency-based learning along with our existing curriculum, that can help the students. Because I see whenever I talk to universities or faculties, the common problem that I see is placements. Okay, I don't know how I'm going to have the the kids are, how they're going to get jobs, or they're not getting jobs. So that's been a very big struggle. So okay, one is like Sir said, I think the curriculum should be created, design of it should be done with industry experts. But even if that's not the case, then can we have something which is from the beginning of the year that they are there, they are encouraged to do internships. I actually vouch for internships even in schools. Why not? Because they are more prepared to face in a corporate world. They know, because there is a huge gap, as Sir said, what corporates are looking for, and we are here in institutions, we are following the same method of learning, which is knowledge-based. We don't know, sometimes students are, and I'm sure all of you are thinking about that I've become an MBA, now where do I apply? What is the corporate looking for? Where can I apply those skills? I may not have that practical knowledge. So that's, it's a hard-hitting question, and to look at that, I think we need to somewhere where technology can play a role. What you were talking about, Mesh, is that's the same idea that I had for institutions, where they connect with industry experts. They want their choice of internship. They can start doing it from the first year itself. And that gives them, and that is also a part of their credits that they get. So you are getting evaluated also. It's not like just taking up internship and you're not getting evaluated. That's not a part of your evaluation process. But that also becomes your evaluation process. So you're motivated to take up more. So the knowledge that you're applying, the knowledge that you're learning from the curriculum, you're also applying to it. So if I can give an example of technology itself, Python, which is something I think everybody today is very familiar with Python. Okay, I learned Python. Now, I'm probably learning it in the second year or first year, and today I think in CBSE board, they're teaching it in the schools itself. So when I come to the first year, Why can't I take up an internship where I can apply that knowledge? I can start from the first year. So as I am learning new languages in a computer science engineering, I am also getting the opportunity to apply that learning. So by the time I have finished my engineering, my competencies are taken care of. And probably a tool to identify that competency gap while I'm in the institution, and also somewhere to bridge that gap. So that is something I think.
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. I think we are all
Thank you.
Touching very relevant points.
Just
Briefly,
wanted to,
Dipankar,
yeah, yeah.
briefly.
So, just a very different kind of an angle I'm going to bring in. And, you know, when we have this industry, academia interaction with the corporates, and what we have done is, from the group, you know, what we have told, I'll just give one example. In IFT, I'm sure all of you would be aware, we went back and told them that, okay, we have a lot of talk about making the curriculum relevant for the corporate. How many of you actually bothered to send your professors to the corporate to understand that what is required? We asked this question. And, I mean, to their astonishment, they were taken aback. And hey, we are only talking about how can we make our curriculum more relevant, talk about internships. Nobody has actually touched upon that. So thankfully, for your information, NIFT Patna have taken that initiative, and they're sending their professors to our retail outlets and our corporate offices to understand that what they need to learn in order to cascade it down to the students so that that curriculum or the download become more relevant. So that's the reverse which is happening. So internships all of you are doing, but I think that is something also for the institutions to think. It is not only, just by sending students to corporates for internship will be only half the job done. I think the professors and the people who are teaching the students also need to spend enough time in the corporates in their own function, like person who's teaching finance needs to actually spend a lot of time in the non-banking financial institutions, or who's actually teaching HR, needs to go and, maybe rub the shoulders with the, senior people in the HR fraternity to understand their expectations also. So it has to work both ways. That's number one. The second point is, again, a part of internship. A lot of MBA institutes, a lot of students which I interview or my team interviews, suppose we're interviewing a person for HR function. Now, when we look at his interns, we see he have done his 2 or 3 interns in finance, and vice versa. Somebody who's coming for an interview for a finance job, he has done his internship as in HR. So again, since I'm here, it's a request to even IIT Kharagpur team as well, that by the time you end your second semester, because I think the first year would be first and second semester, second year would be third and the fourth. So that by the time you complete your second year, you are embarking on your third, there has to be a competent team who would sit with the person and understand his or her preferences in terms of her career goals. And once that is clearly understood, because the second year would be all about specialization. Second year would be all about thinking that which function I'm going to join. So if you can do your internship, which is in alignment with your career goals, and when you appear for your final placement, and you can show, look, I've come for an HR job, and these are the 2-3 the interns which I've done in HR domain in these organizations. I think it will be very easy for the corporates also to understand the knowledge level and the relevance of the candidate for the job, and I think it will make the whole process more and more relevant and I think focused.
This needs a separate discussion and session, and we are honored that faculty's given us the mic, but we cannot drop the mic on this. Yeah. So this has to go on.
I think the only point we would like to highlight is, if at all we look at the curriculum, technology also should become a little part.
Exactly. That's why I said
that's where we are today.
Yeah.
In order to bring, because otherwise it's unfair for the student to walk out and suddenly look at this whole paradigm with technology coming at them out of nowhere. So if it can be in a very small or in a smaller or greater measure, be incorporated into the curriculum from now onwards, it just helps them get acclimatized better. That's about it.
Yeah, and just to add to what Dipankar says, sometimes students are not very clear about their goals. Sometimes it's a peer pressure, sometimes it's a parent's pressure, we don't know. So, and that's why I brought up that idea of, this idea was given, is that they have the opportunity to try out different things and identify what their actual goal is.
Okay, I don't have no more gyan to give you on this. You know what? Just calm down, breathe, relax. You're not going to be students again unless you decide to spend ton of money and do another 2-year MBA course or whatever course in your future. Student life is precious. You don't get it back again, right? So have fun, okay? Chill. But remember that, by the way, yesterday I met a second-year student, a daughter of a close friend of mine. We were at the Tower Clock cafeteria having chai. She was already worried about what will be the salary she will get, and will I be working 12 hours a day? What happens to my work-life balance? I'm like, calm down, relax, have fun, go watch a movie, go play badminton, do whatever, you know. So, but there are certain things that you have to keep in mind. One is, remember that you are the average of 5 people around you, or 5 people you're with. So choose wisely who you're with, okay? Because these things become foundational, right? To give your best in what you do, whether sport, music, studies, anything that in that moment, give your best, okay? Trust me, you should be in a position that you don't have to go looking for jobs, but jobs should come looking for you, okay? That should always be the situation you should be in. What it means is you have to be relevant, yeah? And on the flip side, just on the funny side, then I close, 2 things remember. When companies come and they say, we are a family, welcome to the family, don't trust them. Okay? There's no family. You get paid, you work. Simple. Okay? Don't trust all this bullshit. 2, don't ask in interviews, where will I be 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Don't ask. Even if you ask, if the other person is answering, he's lying. Because even he doesn't know. He doesn't know, or she doesn't know where he or she will be 2 years from there. What will they tell you, right? So just don't worry about it. Chill, take it easy, have fun, okay? You don't get this life again, guys. Have fun.
So thank you so much. I think I've thoroughly enjoyed the discussion. And we've tried to bring out all the little pinpricks that go into a topic such as this, the Star Trek kind of a journey that we are all on. And I hope students as well as the August faculty, we humbly hope that we've been able to add some little wisdom and some little very common sense, pragmatic way of looking at things, because many of these things that we labor under are actually evolutionary. They come over a period of time, they gather steam, they begin to be looked at in a very different manner. They have their own stage of development. So there's always a good enough time to actually look at things in the flow, as a continuous journey of improvement. So as rightly said by Bhuvaneshwar, don't labor under it. We are not Atlas. We are not carrying the world on our shoulders. And it's not going to be changing us overnight. The one change that we'd like to make in this, at this point of time, is we were told that all the questions have actually been gathered from the students. Fair enough, that's wonderful. However, we just feel that out of the discussion, there could be some point which might be niggling you at the back of your minds at this point of time. So we are ready to extend by about 5-10 minutes. If there's anybody in the audience, any student or anybody for that matter, who'd like to just pose a couple of questions to any of the panelists or to any one of us, which is just a thought which is erupted, we'd be very happy to take that on right now, live. So, couple of mics around, maybe.
So seeing employee as a customer and company becoming the experience provider to the employee to really give her the experience of learning, challenge, growth and contribution would be my bit.
So there's no one size fits all when it comes to tech and culture, okay? For large global organizations, there are certain non-negotiables that will be systems driven, which is up beyond culture. Like for example, how performance will be measured is got nothing to do with the culture. It should be the same experience, same yardstick across the world. Doesn't matter how many countries you operate in, okay? So tech comes there. But there are nuances of local cultures, which is where localization has to happen on the software side. Language, for example. Even if you take the basic HRIS system, the employee master data, okay? Even the basic one. When you say this is an employee of whatever company, Indonesia, it can't show Aadhaar as identity card. It has to show what is local there, right? Things like that. So there are a bunch of things which has to be localized for culture part, especially on the talent management side. But otherwise, the basic information is same.
So I think, if you're talking about how do we get different cultures to come together and work more productively and cohesively, that is the question. If you go to Brazil, every time you meet a person in the day, if you meet the person 10 times, you have to hug him. That is the culture. You have to hug him or her. That is the culture in Brazil. But just North America, you are supposed to respect privacy and space. So you just shake hands once in a day and that's it. In Japan, you need to have exact plan in place for the day, early in the morning, first thing. And then only the work gets started. And that's what you need to respect. I'm just giving you some examples of how culture varies from place to place. And this is like awareness generation, knowledge being shared, but ultimately it comes into life when you translate this into behavior. That technology cannot help with. There, one has to actually do this at a personal level. Otherwise, awareness generation can be done by technology.
I'd just like to add to that, that's so relevant, I mean the point you made. You know, culture is not opposite to technology, but technology can just about enable it, that's it. Otherwise, culture is something which is very human. So I remember during my stints, we had to go and actually stay in Japan for about 3 months on a project. And one of the first things we were made to go through was a culture study of the way the Japanese behavior was. Because there are many things very, very particular of that country. If you don't do it properly, it's taken as an affront. It's an insult. Starting with the tea ceremony, if you recall. You know, the way you hold the cup and the way you move it when you're bringing it to the lip, even that small gesture, we had to undergo trainings for that. So, you know, it is so human that whenever you go across, countries, cross-border, where you're expected to spend some time or there are repeated travels involved, it augurs well, especially from the human resource perspective, to be trained in that part, to be alive to the information on those countries. Otherwise, you could be on a wrong footing somewhere. So that's very, very immersive in terms of how you adapt to that part.
short story, very quick story on this. I was taking a session in US, and I made a remark on the go, and I was used to Indian style. And I told them, if you are good, you will be continuing in this job. And if you're not good enough for this, you'll be good enough for something else. And if we are good, we'll get somebody else in your place. And this girl, this young girl, actually took objection to it. And she said, what do you mean? I realized I made a mistake. Because I was used to Indian style. In India, guys are so resilient, such survivors, and we take it all in our stride. But for them, they are state-sponsored. Everything is taken care of. They want to be actually pampered beyond a point. I'm just talking about the cultural aspects between these two different styles of living. So we need to be just sensitive about it, which can be attained through technology only to the extent of information sharing.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts and experience.
A very good morning to the panelists, and we are very elated to hear your perspectives. So my doubt is to Nilanjana ma'am and Deepankar sir. So you both were talking about how human learning capabilities is different, and sometimes we find a situation where a particular individual will have all other qualities like emotional quotient, company loyalty, everything, but they might be having different learning capabilities. Like one will learn a little faster and one will learn a little slower. So to Nilanjana ma'am, what does learning management solution, like you were telling about the digital learning solutions, so what solution it offers for us to deal with situation like this? And regarding standardized assessment, which Deepankar sir was talking about, like how to have assessment for people with different learning capability timeline.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So learning management system doesn't do a learner analysis. It is, and that's a very critical point that I want to bring up with the trends that are happening in technology. There could be a lot of things with AI, ChatGPT, but design still remains with the humans. So to your point, learning capabilities, you know, somebody may be a slow learner, fast learner, that is somewhere it's going to be the designer who's going to give that information. AI will be able to enable that, probably find out through their digital presence, or you know, they are able to capture that data. So that's where again data analysis plays a role. But the design will always be created by the designer. And that's where it's not the LMS, which is, LMS is going to be probably just the hosting that learner, the learning module. But it's not going to be identifying the learning capabilities. So that's, I hope that answers your question. And talking about assessments, I think when we talk about assessments, there's a lot to be done there. Today, I think that's what I was talking about, that we have assessments which are more multiple choice questions. Even in your universities, any of your LMS that hosts, we are very limited to multiple choice questions. I am sure the faculty members will agree to that, because when we do a paper-based question answers, you know, the students can write more, but when you do it in an online, we are very limited to that multiple choice. And that is not something that we can really, we can probably do a very top level assessment of learners. But I think open-ended questions is something that we are moving forward to, and it's not keyword search or anything. When I say open-ended questions means you are able to, and that's where again probably AI is playing a role in that, is that you are able to allow the learner to write their thoughts, and that those thoughts are evaluated. So that's where the future of assessments is going to. There's also something that is, it's not yet, you know, we are still not there, but it's coming up, is experience API. That is another area which is being used for evaluation, where AI is playing a role of, as I said, evaluating. So this is more to do with software tools, like, if you're in a company and you're using a software tool, and how you're using the software tool, the AI is monitoring that and providing you help whenever you need. So that's some of the areas of evaluation. I talked about, I think, interviews where also the similar thing is. I'll pass it on to Dipankar.
So to address your first question, we have different ways, I think it's a very valid question, and thanks for bringing this up. One is, we need to understand the capacity of the learner in terms of the rate of consumption. That is one of the biggest challenges we see, in digital learning, and hence self-paced learning concept is gaining a lot of traction. We have maybe a content which is running for, say, 2.5 hours, but everybody may not be able to digest or consume that at one go. So what we do is we break that into nanobytes. That's one. So you have an option of doing it together, all together. You can break it into different parts, episodes. Second one is what we have also introduced is audio-based learning. So there are a lot of people who are actually like senior executives, who are driving or who are traveling and really don't have the time to sit in front of their system and learn. So there are a lot of, I'm sure all of you have heard about audiobooks. So this again is a very new concept wherein, we have digitized the entire learning. And this is where we have the background, audio in different languages also. So it's like, just like suppose a concept of selling skills, or say a concept like HR analytics, somebody wishes to learn, or even say, something on, say, performance management, how you, drive performance management. So we have converted that into audiobooks, and the person can just plug in, and as I mentioned, it's there in your smartphone. You just open the app, okay, and you find there is, incidentally, Gyanodaya is the Aditya Birla Group vertical of learning, and these audiobooks are available, and somebody who doesn't have the time can just go along and doing activities and listen to those things. So I think these are the 2-3 things which we have done to address the different needs of a learner. Coming to the assessment, yes, I think she has already touched upon a lot of things. Please understand, assessments are not only about asking a person to solve some multiple choice questions. Yeah, it is about a simulation also. What we do is, for certain assessments, we take that person out of a particular unit and put that person to a different unit under a different manager. See, one of the challenges of HR is, I'll tell you, I'm sure all our esteemed panelists will agree, I have personally seen a person under a particular manager is labeled as an underperformer. And to the extent that the manager is asking that person that please initiate a PIP, he has asked the HR department, and I don't need that person in our team. So what we do is, as an experiment, we take out that person, put him in a different unit under a manager, and suddenly within months, he has become a top performer. So hence, this is also a form of assessment, that this is an underperformer. Is he really an underperformer, or it is subject to, some biasness or some individual perceptions, based on a particular person. So this assessment is a wide bandwidth. Please don't look at assessments only from the lenses of, MCQs or, traditional tests or something like that. Modern day HR, modern organizations have gone way beyond that. Yeah, so different kinds of assessments are there. I said simulation, okay, and job rotation, okay, and putting him under a different environment. So this is the ways we explore. So as he said, that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. And, but however, it is extremely important that we understand what would be the best solution. If we give a wrong medicine, to the patient, you'll know what will happen. So I think identifying, what is the best way, what is the best and unbiased way, and it's a blended approach. We need not use technology all the time, if it is only required. Hence, we will take the use of technology, but that's how, it can happen.
Thank you, Dipankar. But here, I'd like to say that we have a hard stop. Most of us have to rush back to the airport to catch flights. So thank you very, very much. Thank you, all the esteemed, management stakeholders here for giving us the opportunity to be here at IIT Kharagpur in person. All the trouble that has been taken by the student community. Heartfelt, sincere gratitude. The kind of aptitude, the kind of responsiveness, the kind of resilience to bear all the pains that we've, thrown at you. Thank you very much. We've felt very nice being amongst all of you. We hope you have also, and we look forward to many more interactions in the future. Thank you so much. Round of applause here.
We would like to seize this moment to extend our sincere appreciation to our esteemed panelists. Your invaluable time and insightful responses have not only addressed our queries, but also enriched our curious minds with clarity of thought.
In honor of their preeminent presence and for enriching this conclave with their thought-provoking insight, we extend a warm invitation to our faculty to present a commemorative token of gratitude to our speakers.
We humbly request Professor Surojit Mukherjee to present a memento to Mr. Bhubneshwar Nayak.
Moving forward, we would like to invite Professor Sujoy Bhattacharya to honor Mr. Dipankar Mukherjee with a memento. Thank you, sir.
Next, we would like to invite Professor Tutan Ahmed to present Mr. Kshitij Bhatnagar with a memento. Thank you, sir.
We would like to humbly request Professor Sushmita Mukhopadhyay to present a memento to Ms. Nilanjana Chakraborty. Thank you, ma'am.
We would now like to invite Professor Tutan Ahmed to present Mr. Rituraj Sar with a memento.
We would like to humbly request Professor Parma Borai to present a memento to Dr. Devjani Roy. Thank you, ma'am.
Management of change is the art of orchestrating transformation and evolution through adaptation of future-ready technology, where every member of an organization becomes a conductor of progress, and together they compose a symphony of success. It requires empathetic leadership that understands the fears and aspirations of individuals within an organization and provides them with the confidence, tools, and support to embrace change as a vehicle for personal and collective growth. Today, we have navigated through the vast landscape of human resources, delving into the depths of knowledge and innovation. On behalf of the Vinod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur, we would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for being a part of this galvanizing discussion.
Different measuring techniques such as psychometric analysis, the Know Yourself methodology, HR analysis, and gamified learning, and many more have been an integral part of MBA curriculum of VGSoM. But these have been augmented by the use of technology of late to a different altitude for the student. Various live projects, including LBOC initiatives, are included in the initial stages of learning. Progress is a ceaseless journey of human potential, a testament to our ability to transcend the boundaries of what we once thought possible. It is a mosaic of innovation, determination, and collaboration, where each style represents an idea, a discovery, or a courageous step forward. Our distinguished panelists have shared their invaluable insight and have enriched us with this wisdom, and our vibrant audience have a refined understanding of the real world and are walking out of this arena. Together, we have uncovered new perspective, forged connection, and ignited the flames of inspiration. We are grateful to Professor Reddy, our respected Dean, and Professor Ray, Advisor VGSoM, and all our faculty members for their presence and unconditional support. Finally, we would like to express our gratitude to our enthusiastic audience, without whom Vachna 2023 would not have been possible.
As the curtain falls on Vachna 2023, we would like to thank everyone for joining us on a Saturday morning to be a part of this momentous occasion. Today, we conclude on an ambitious note, promising to continue presenting you with new and diverse perspectives. Ladies and gentlemen, we bid adieu. We humbly request the batch to remain seated, and we request the CMI team members to direct the guests and faculties for post-event proceedings.